What do two of the biggest gaming successes in the entire year of 2024 have in common? That being Path of Exiles 2, with a concurrent peak of 539,000 players, which is pretty amazing, and Marvel Rivals with 451,000 players have in common. Well, if you've read the title of the video, you probably got a pretty good idea. It is, of course, that they are both redder than the baboon's arse, with Marvel Rivals being produced by NetEase Games, a Chinese company, and the Path of Exiles 2 is produced by Kiwis. Well, kind of, sort of, in a way, as Grinding Gear Games, whilst being located in New Zealand, is 100% owned by Tencent, another absolutely ginormous Chinese company. What does this mean? Well, quite a few things actually. I've been touching upon it briefly in other videos and talked a bit about it on the ArchCast last weekend, but I feel like this deserves its own dedicated video topic. So, Marvel Rivals. Let's begin there, shall we? 451,000 concurrents is pretty impressive considering the game that they're ripping off had 75,000 concurrents. Now, bear you in mind, I do believe this was also playable on the Blizzard Thingy-Bob store, so that number is probably a pinch misleading, but yeah, the number differential is pretty significant, and when you look at the reviews, well, yeah, there's definitely some pretty clear signs that one game is doing a lot of things right and the other game is not doing a lot of things right. And this has upset some people. So the former Blizzard boss put up a tweet, which he very quickly deleted because it made him look absolutely awful, where he accused Marvel Rivals of ripping off Overwatch, including taking Maxima, now I've forgotten too, Romanoff Black Widow as a rip-off of Widowmaker, instead of the other way around, obviously, as Widowmaker is an obvious, well, let's be generous here and say homage to Black Widow. But he does have a point. There are many parts of Marvel Rivals that have certainly borrowed more than a few mechanics from Overwatch. But here's the thing too. Blizzard had this market down pat. It owned it. It possessed it. It was the hero shooter market, and yet it continued to make mistake after mistake. The only reason why Marvel Rivals could do this is because Blizzard allowed them to do this. They screwed up on the balancing, they screwed up on the character design, they screwed up on the community communications front, to the point where, you know, remember when we were at Concord? It's like, Concord has failed disastrously. What could be the reason? Well, the hero shooter market is oversaturated. Yes, I am sure that is indeed the only reason why this video game was an enormous flop. Yes, absolutely, definitively, no other reasons whatsoever there. But this is not only merely just because of the screw-up on Blizzard's part either, it's a far wider screw-up on so many levels, as China, and I'm making this prediction right now, will become the cultural hegemon of the world in as little as 5 years, although that is unrealistic, to as much as 20 years, like in 20 years' time. At the current trajectory, they will dictate culture in the same way that America dictated culture to the world, with Hollywood, with Marvel, with DC, with gaming as well, with companies like Blizzard, with companies like Microsoft and Apple. If this was a game of civilization, America would have won the cultural victory about 24 years ago, easy, with no real competition. But right now, just like Blizzard pissed away their chance with Overwatch, the larger Western gaming market is pissing away its chance as well. Another example here is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is the weirdly popular hit thing, which I've never really understood why it's so popular apparently, as you can see over here, and China. Light of Mortiam. Again, I admit there are some slight similarities between the two. There's some inspiration that's been taken here, yo. I can see it. I can see it. Although, even that Light of Mortarium, if you look at the Steam page, looks more like an Arc game, really, than, you know, the, what's the name of the game with the ugly redhead again? I don't even know, nor do I necessarily care, frankly. But it actually looks more Arc-esque, really, so sort of, kind of, sort of, in a way, where it does something that China has been doing quite a lot right now. Another example I brought up is Ananta. Let me just show you a little bit of this thing right here, right? So, Ananta is a game that is, well, it's GTA plus anime waifus, plus Spider-Man web-slinging, plus gacha game. It's basically taking all of the various ingredients that the East has proven to be successful now, and it takes that with the various ingredients that the West have proven successful and interested in, and combining them. Like, there are even scenes in here, like this one, which is straight from the GTA trailer, except for one itsy-bitsy tiny difference. It's all attractive anime waifus, literally all of them, with a little bit of a Chinese twist as well, I would like to point out. You see, like, the bathing suits, like the very covering bathing suits, that is a big China thing. In fact, I believe there was some kind of legal requirement that it needed to cover up like X amount percentage of the body, etc. But the Chinese are not big on micro bikinis, let's just put it like that. So already you see a small hint of the cultural dominance beginning to seep in. Now, you still got some pretty, like, skimpy ones, like this one here, for example, like a sports bikini, enormous boogalungas, and like a hot pantsy style underside there. Underside, close enough for government work. But already, you can see a little bit of it beginning to sneak its way slowly in the background, which was exactly the same way that nonsense wokeist shit snuck its way into our Western entertainment as well. And the critique being leveled against it is stuff like this: oh, you know, the Grand Theft Auto is cool, anime else is cool, like the gameplay looks kind of neat, but, you know, if the game is so fascinated with pulling from other sources that it forgets to stand on its own terms, then is it really worth anything? Yeah. Yes. See, here's the thing. I don't care if the game is like, okay, we're gonna take a little bit of that, we're gonna take a little bit of that, we're gonna take a little bit of that, and we're gonna mix it all together. If it does so well, then I'm just gonna sit there and be like, wow, you combined all of my favorite things. Thanks. I'm not gonna complain. It's like, oh, you're lacking in uniqueness here. You don't have enough spirit of your own. You borrow too much. Fuck no. Have you seen the Western gaming market? I'll take that in a heartbeat. And there's the issue. See, as much as I dislike China as an entity, and as much as I know for a fact that this will be used to dominate the culture for nefarious means, because that is literally China's goddamn strategy at this point, if the West won't give me the games I want, but China wills, well, I'm gonna take the China games. Why? Because it will also encourage Western games developers. Okay, see, here's the thing. China knows what's happening. It is beginning to move into the Western gaming market. It is going to start leveraging its enormous amounts of money to take over companies like Ubisoft. It will essentially swoop in and cannibalize all of the failing woke corporations, eating up their IPs, nom nom nom, and then they'll start releasing them going, hey, we heard you didn't like Black Assassin's Creed. Oh well, here's a new Assassin's Creed. It's back in the Middle East, but you're surrounded by hot brown waifus who will do anything for you. A return to form. Ironically, they'll do, hey, Silent Hunter, want a sub-sim game? This is your new assistant commander. It's a big-titted blonde woman from the German Kriegsmarine. Literally, because we are teaching them that is all they need to do. All they really need to do is make a game with hot characters, and we will reward the shit out of them because we want to play good games with attractive characters, and the West isn't giving it to us. What is the West doing? Well, the West is doing stuff like this, so Dragonlance, one of the old greats of fantasy. This is old school Dragonlance. It looks kick-ass. It looks awesome. They've got cool characters. They've got dragon monsters. They've got hot chicks. And what are they doing today? This. China, please conquer me faster, daddy. It's all I can really That's all I can really say. Or this one, Avatar The Last Airbender, or another Avatar thing. What are we going to do? A black paraplegic child. Fantastic. Exactly what I always wanted. Now, there are ways to fight back up against this, which we should do. One of them, the TikTok ban, is an absolute good that should be pushed through. No, China should not be allowed to operate a social media network in the West. No, they should not. Very bad idea, culturally speaking. But what needs to be happening more so than this is that the West needs to begin retaliating in terms of quality. See, Path of Exiles 2 is an example that I hesitated a little bit to bring up here. Because Path of Exile 2 isn't like a sudden surprise smash hiccup success that came out of nowhere. It is a success. English, God help me. It is a success because of 10 years, or even more I think, of hard work, of dedication, and of continued additive to the game, of listening to the fans, of making the correct decisions. It is a labor of love and skill, and the fact that it is owned by a Chinese company does not lessen that in the slightest. Instead, this should be held up as an example of what the West needs to do. Instead of looking at this and go like, oh well, I'm not going to play this because it's Chinese. You're not going to convince anyone because of that. In a market starved of good entertainment, the masses will flood towards it as they did with Marvel Rivals. You're not going to be able to stop that. What you need to do is instead look at the Western games developer and go, listen, I understand that we get the market that we deserve. We have let you get away with too much shit. We have let you get away with predatory monetization. We have let you get away with releasing games that don't work. And I want to point out again, Marvel Rivals launches to 451,000 players peak. Are there instabilities? Are there servers crashing? Do people not log on? None of that. It works smooth as butter, unlike virtually every major Western release, which can barely keep itself operational. But the only thing that does work is the catch shop. And as if to just stunt on the opposition, as if to pull down its pants and poop all over Overwatch, what is the one thing that didn't work day law 1 in Marvel Rivals? The cash shop. Unironically, the evil Chinese who are coming here just to take our money with their vile gacha games, the one thing they prioritized the least was the fucking monetization shop. This is the lesson we need to teach Western games developers. I want Western games to be better than Chinese games. I want them to have higher quality, I want them to have better finish, I want them to have more attractive characters. But you must start doing it. You do not exist in a market free of competition, where the only alternative is another slightly less woke game. You are now competing with a part of the world that has rejected your dumbass ideology, that will not allow you to get away with your shit. You have to start competing again, Western games. That means upping your game in quality, in monetization practices, in everything. Otherwise, China will eat your fucking lunch. And again, bear in mind here, China's not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Oh, God help me, no. They are doing this because they understand they will be able to corner the Western market by doing this. They're going to move in an area with no competition and just gobble it all up. Start releasing stuff, and soon they'll own goddamn everything. In the same way that we allowed Microsoft and Google and a handful of corporations to own everything. And then they will become just as bad, in fact probably a lot worse, than the corporations we have currently, which is why I still want Western game developers to do better. But the only way to get them to do better is to yell at them. It is to apply the stick. It is to reward the competition and go, look, I am more than willing to pay for my games. I will buy your microtransaction nonsense, but you have to give me a video game first. Homeworld 3. Oh, that was one hell of a scam. And if the West does not get a move on really goddamn quickly, yeah, no, China will become the cultural hegemon. It is unquestionable. It is undoubtable. They are already conquering game. They've started making movies with as high production values as anything in the West. The only thing holding them back is that they are obvious propaganda. Like, I mean, really obvious propaganda. The moment they begin to get a little wise to this, and they begin targeting the international market instead of their homegrown market and just like viewing the West as an ancillary thing, they will blow Hollywood out of the fucking water with ease, as they are going to do now to gaming. This is not the future I desire. And it is not a future we can prevent by simply like boycotting Marvel Rivals or going like, oh, China bad. It is a future we can only avoid by beating the ever-living life shit out of the Western corporations until they learn. It is an unenviable position they, and we, find ourselves in. But griping about it isn't really going to help. Well, unless you're me, and that is what you do to mobilize other people, in which case griping about it is probably the best thing you can do. But, again, it requires active means on behalf of the game's publishers, and I do believe that they're starting to understand it. At least, like, yeah, this is a former Blizzard boss. I guarantee you this is the view of a lot of people within the industry that look at Marvel Rivals as simply a knockoff, and those few who are able to, remain cognizant and raise themselves above their jealousy will then go, but hold on, why? If it is just a knockoff, do the players prefer it over the original? And if they manage to arrive at an honest conclusion, they may still have a chance to save themselves. I really hope so, because I've seen what the Chinese monetization market looks like in China. Believe you me, we don't want that. We really do not want that. But that requires all of us to work together, developers as well as gamers. It's a tall order, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Oh well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Do let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below, as I am quite curious to hear your opinions on this as well, in regards to what actions should be taken, how wide-reaching, and if there is, frankly, any hope whatsoever at this point. And until next time, well, I have been Arch. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.